You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, good morning, everybody. This is James Morris. I have Stephen Lange calling all the way from Poplar Springs, Georgia. Is that where you're calling from, Stephen?
Yep, still where the crows like to crow.
I know it's early in the morning over there, but you're a little later than us. It's 7:15 your time. But you've been doing a lot of reviewing here lately on used cars. You're a used car salesman, and there's really nothing wrong with that because not everyone can afford new cars. But what you seem to be is you find cars that you would buy to put your kids in or your wife in. And you get the maintenance that needs to be done to them, and you purchase them at a good price, and you actually, I guess, sell them to people in your part of the country. But you found out that Facebook or Craigslist doesn't seem to work or whatever. So please tell me what you have found out about selling cars on Facebook and Craigslist.
Well, first of all, they both work in their own unique way. I think that Facebook works a lot better for folks that don't want anonymity in their lives. They don't want to buy a car off of a complete stranger. Mm-hmm. And the platform enables folks to more easily buy and sell from people that they already know. You already can put a face to the name. And likewise, if you have somebody who is trying to annoy you or for some reason, mm-hmm. they can't find ways of retaliating against you and, flag your post or constantly barrage you with ridiculous questions like, can I trade my 08 Honda on your 2015 Ford? You're not going to get too much of that after a certain point. Okay. One other thing I really like about Facebook right now is that it focuses on the geographic proximity, mm-hmm. And that matters to a lot of people who don't want to drive 50 miles out. Okay. Forget about a car. They don't want to drive 50 miles out for a keyboard. Mm-hmm. So, the list goes on and on.
Okay. But I know Craigslist, like you were talking about, the people get a little worried about getting robbed or whatever. Matter of fact, my wife said something about that. We were looking about getting a puppy, and she said, well, I checked Craigslist, but I'm kind of scared about going there without, I'm going, wow, I never thought about that. But Facebook is a little bit more open. Is that the advantage you're seeing about it, and more people can see it, or how does that work?
People can actually see your profile, or at least what you're posting as your profile. And mm-hmm. the thing is, for a lot of folks who Facebook really hasn't become a scammer's paradise. The only thing that will happen in both places actually mm-hmm. is you may have something that you're trying to sell for $10,000, like a new car, mm-hmm. new-ish car, make that, mm-hmm. and somebody may try to post $7,000 or say, can you trade it for a 7-year-old BMW? Okay. Stuff like that. You'll still get in both places. But the good news is that, when you look at something that's interesting on Facebook that you want to buy, mm-hmm. There's an area called Marketplace which lists everything you want to buy. And if you go on the main part of the site and type in, let's say, Honda Accord, mm-hmm. it'll actually take you to the closest Honda Accords to where you live. And mm-hmm. you can even do it for 2008, 2009, Honda Accord Leather. You can more or less narrow down your search considerably, the same way you would do with Facebook, except everything is a lot closer to you. Mm. You have to look at postings, 100 miles away mm-hmm. From places that post in multiple areas.
Mm-hmm.
They have a geographic center to them on Facebook, so that helps a great deal.
Well, I noticed you've been, in the last 3 or 4 months, you've been putting a lot of pictures on Facebook. I know that Craigslist has pictures too, but I know a lot of people just don't get on Craigslist to cruise. I guess they, just to flip through, but people get on Facebook to flip through and to scroll down. Which one do you think gets the most response? If you're a private individual trying to sell your own personal car, which one do you think would get the most response, Craigslist or Facebook?
I think Facebook is now the better choice for that, only because the country for it, that is Facebook, hasn't been as discovered. They haven't created a version of their marketplace for desktops. They've done it for phones. In other words, mm-hmm. you can actually use pictures from your phone to post on Facebook, but you can't do it from your PC or laptop.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting to know. Now, what I was going to say about cars. Okay, so if the average, we got about 2 minutes left, and I got to get Karen shown on here. I was going to ask you a question. Now, if people are looking to buy a car, and they're used car. And I know that you have Steve. I don't know how it was it StephenLange.com, or how do they get up with you if they just want to see the type of cars you have?
Very easy to remember now. Just go to Dashboard Light.
Dashboardlights.com, or just Dashboard Lights, period?
Oh, dashboardlight.com, and there's no hyphen or anything. Just actually, strike that. There is.
Yes.
Dashboard-lights.com. I just established the site. So.
Dashboard-lights.com. And the reason
exactly. Dashboard-light.
The little hyphen lights.com. But that right there will let people see what's for sale. Now, you live in Poplar Springs, Georgia. I mean, it's not like you're 50 miles away from us. You're a good 8 hours away from us. But the point being is there's a lot of good deals for people to buy good used cars in this part of Northwest Florida without having to drive to Poplar Springs, Georgia. But if they wanted to, they could. But the point being is but Facebook is another avenue to explore how to buy a used car, because but as you said before, the most important thing is maintenance that's been done before you purchased it, what that previous owner has done to it. And how is a good way to find out what maintenance has been done that you've found out over the years? Is there any particular way to look for maintenance?
Oh, yeah. There's a few different ways. The first is always to ask what was done and, document it, and then just make sure you ask for proof when you look at the vehicle in person. Another thing you can always do is if they have taken it to a dealer, if you get to know their name, you can actually ask the dealership, has anything been done as of late, and they will actually volunteer more times than not that information. They'll ask for the last 6 or 8 of the VIN typically, but that combined with the person's name will enable you to find out if there's a reason beyond what they're telling you why they're selling that car.
So for your advice is, before you buy a car, make sure you take the last 6 or 8 of the VIN number and make sure, I guess, run it through Carfax or run it through a dealership or run it through whatever ways out there to verify that what the customer is saying is the truth. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, although Carfax really doesn't post everything. Carfax oftentimes will only post from those establishments that already do business with it. And not every dealership and not every independent garage does business with Carfax.
Well, that's true, because we do with Carfax, and we see our work on there, but not every repair shop is on Carfax. That is so true. Stephen, if people want to know more about you, is there a website they can go to, or is that the website where dashboard-lights.com?
Yep, I also have articles out there. I also created, with another fellow, a long-term quality reliability study on vehicles, which now has over 1.2 million data samples from all over the United States. So that's been a considerable effort with a lot of large dealer networks and auctions. So long story short, if they want to find out about the long-term reliability of a given model, I have information that goes all the way back to 1993.
From Chevrolets to Saabs and every Saab story in between, I bet.
Absolutely.
had to throw that in there. All right, Stephen, thank you so much for calling. Give my best to your wife and your children, and I'll talk to you hopefully in the next few weeks. We'll talk again a little bit more about this. I'm going to get Karen Schoen on here. She's been holding for me. Karen, thank you for patiently waiting for me. Now, I was going to ask, we were talking about buying used cars on Facebook, but have you found out that people seem to be more responsive to political problems or political questions on Facebook than they are on the internet, on Facebook versus, say, going to websites or whatever? What are you seeing as far as political activity among activists on Facebook here in Northwest Florida, or just in Florida, period?
They are using it more, a lot more, and it is a very easy way to connect, and we are seeing a lot of political discussions. But the tolerance level, depending upon what you say and what discussion you join, lots of times you get the delete button or the unfriend me button.
It was amazing. It was amazing how many people this last election. I was just like, if you didn't either like candidate A or candidate B, you were either unfriended or blocked or whatever. I'm going, holy moly. It was just fun. I just sat back with a bag of popcorn and watched it. Whoa.
It was cutting, and it's very real. I was asked to do a TV show for a political discussion because they continually had on to Democrats and they had no Republicans. So I said I would do it. after 3 weeks of doing the show, they asked me not to do it anymore because I was too controversial.
Well,
I said, telling the truth is controversial.
well, that
Absolutely.
pesky
Telling the
First
truth
Amendment.
is controversial. So this is what we are facing right now, and the problem is extremely serious. And if we look a little bit deeper, we can find that a lot of the problem is coming right out of our schools, and it's starting in kindergarten. And as a result, we see what we get. And this is the intolerance that is being bred throughout our education system. We've got to do something about it.
Let me ask you.
Statistics just came in, James, and it's so disheartening. Florida spends between $10,000 and $12,000 a year to educate a child, and Florida spends almost the most in education, and we are 47th.
I know, and I tell people this, and they look at me like, "Oh, I don't, you're just making those numbers up." And I go, "No." When I tell you about the graduation rates, either aren't as good as they're supposed to be. You go, "Oh, that's just, that's not right either." And I go, "Well, only thing I'm saying is we're dumbing down our children, and like you said, it starts in kindergarten, and I think it's all because they're having to teach the test." These standardized tests that really don't measure anything other than your ability to memorize or take the test.
And it's also the curricula. We now have colleges, universities that are taking U.S. history off their roster as a curricula.
They're taking what you don't remember from history, you're doomed to repeat. Trust me on that. I've done that in business. Yes.
This is any school that takes federal money and does not teach American history. What are we doing?
It sounds like
this is I'm sorry. What I was just going to say was that we have to be aware. If you read what the left is saying, many of the globalists are saying they are frightened to death that this populist movement is destroying their one world government with their new world order. And
I think that was
everything here is designed to make sure that happens.
Well, I'll be honest with you, not everyone I talk to is in favor of a one-world government.
Oh, intolerant.
Call me what you want, but it's like Thomas Jefferson said once upon a time, a country without borders is no country.
That's right.
And
I hope that by the 20th, I did hear yesterday that the Trump transition team requested from DHS all the statistics on the deportations and the logistics of where to put a wall and what kind of wall would be needed. So we elected a man who said he was going to build a wall, and he said he's going to build a wall, and looks like he's going to build a wall. Let's see if we can get Mexico to pay for it. Yes, that's the big thing.
that might be the interest.
From the looks of what's going on with the jobs that are coming back, he is having a good negotiation.
Well,
so who knows?
Like I said, I read today how Ford Motor Company is not going to open up their plant in Mexico. They're going to stay here and invest it in autonomous and electric cars in North America, which I'm going,
you know what?
Wow.
That makes me feel good for two reasons. Not just because they're going to be bringing jobs back to America, but because we're going to be innovating and creating again, and that's always exciting.
It's kind of like we've been on a 8-year hiatus on innovating and creating. The only thing we seem to have innovated is how to spend my money quicker than I make it. That's about the only thing that's been innovative over the last 8 years. It's like my insurance has gone outrageous, the cost of living has gotten outrageous, and just being alive is outrageous. It's really, Karen, thank you so much.
Looking for
we got 15 seconds.
People that would like to help with lobbying. We're going to be lobbying starting in the next couple of weeks as the criminals go back to Tallahassee, and we're going to be lobbying, pinpointing education this time, because if Trump does do what he says he's going to do and block grants the money for education and brings it back to the state, and we're 47th and we don't do something about it, we're in a world of pain.
Yes, we are. Okay, they can reach you at KarenSchoen.com if they're interested in lobbying and legislator up in Tallahassee.
And becoming a citizen lobbyist walking around like James did.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It really is.
It is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. You get
a lot of wonderful people. It was. We were talking about that the other day. The wonderful people that we met as a result of being involved in our government. Imagine that.
Yeah, well, one of the things I've realized in talking to you that not all criminals have tattoos, but I found out a lot of criminals wear $1,000 suits up there.
That's right. That's right.
I shouldn't say these. I'm not going to be in love. My wife's looking at me going, "You shouldn't say that." But we do. Not all criminals are bad-looking people. They sometimes can be very deceptive. Anyway, Karen, thank you so much for calling. I'm up against a break. I got to go. We'll talk to you again next week. Thank you so much for calling, and thank you for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye, everybody.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.